everybody, in this video I'm going to go over problems 11 through 15 on negations. Let's get into it.
Let's take a look at a version of number 11. So here's what we've got. I went ahead and translated it up here for you to get ready to go. Do we have arrows not in parentheses? Yeah, we got 2. The left side matches? Nope, nope. Okay. Modus tollens. Do we have any right side contraries? Do we have a squiggle D by itself? No. Do we have an A by itself? No. And in? It's not going to go anywhere. Double negation. It's not going to go anywhere. Is our goal an arrow? Yes, it is. This hasn't really happened yet. What we're going to do, we're going to provisionally assume the left side of the arrow, and what we're going to try and do is going to get the right. So here's the mission. Provisionally assume A, get squiggle C, the right side of the arrow that we had up here. Let's do it. Now with that A in play, can we do an arrow out? No. Can we do a modus tollens? Do you have is this the contrary to a right side? Yes, it is. So look, line 3 and line 4. Look, line 3, we've got squiggle A on the right side. Number 4, or line 4 is its contrary. So that's going to get us squiggle D, modus tollens 3 and 4. Can we do an arrow out now? No. Can we do another modus tollens? Yeah. This is the contrary of the right side of line 2. What does that get us? The contrary of the left side. And the left side there is C dot B. So the way contraries work, it's the exact same thing with a not in front of all of it. That's modus tollens 2 and 5. Can we do an arrow out? No. Modus tollens? No. And out? No. And in? Doesn't go anywhere. Double negation? Doesn't go anywhere. Is our goal an arrow right now? Remember, our goal right now is squiggle C. Is our goal right now an arrow? Squiggle C? No. So what are we going to do? We're going to start an indirect proof. Our goal right now is squiggle C. What we're going to do is here in a subproof, we're going to say, hey, let's provisionally assume the opposite of our goal. Our goal is squiggle C, so we're going to provisionally assume C. And the goal then is get any contradiction whatsoever. So now with the C in play, what can we do? Now take a look. Remember, the last move of an indirect proof is, do you have any contraries that you can put together? So look, and the first thing you want to look for is, what do I have that's already sitting there with negations in front of it? So look at line 6. Line 6 is not C dot B. So look, first of all, can I build the opposite of that? Could I build C dot B? Look, I've got C, I've got B. So watch this, line 8. C dot B, and in 7 and 1. And look now, line 8 is the contrary of line 6. I'm just going to slap these together, watch this. C dot B, and the exact same thing with a not in front of it. And in line 8 and line 6. I did it, look, already. So I can zoom out here and say, line 10, yeah, if you provisionally assume C, you'll get a contradiction, which means squiggle C is true, indirectly, 7 through 9. Which means then, look, squiggle C was the thing I was trying to get with this arrow in here, which means if you provisionally assume the left, you get the right, which means I can zoom out here and say, yeah, if you provisionally assume this, you get this, which means I can zoom out from this and say in line 11, yeah, if A is true, then you totally get squiggle C, which is what I was trying to get up here. How did I get this one? Arrow in. This started in line 4. It completed in line 10. So this is a indirect proof inside a conditional proof inside a standard proof. Number 12. Representative Forbes voted legally only if he was in Tallahassee when the vote was taken. So he voted legally only if, that means there's the arrow, only if he was in Tallahassee when the vote was taken. Therefore, since he was in Jacksonville at the time, he did not vote legally. Since the therefore is there, that lets us know that's what we're actually solving for. So what are we solving for? If he was in Jacksonville, then he did not vote legally. So that's what we're solving for. But then it says this. Obviously, so here's the next assumption it's adding. Obviously, he was not in both cities when the vote was taken. So it's doing this thing. He cannot be both in Jacksonville and Tallahassee. Can he be in both? No, he cannot. That's assumption number 2. That's the translation. Let's go for it. We can't do arrow out, can't do modus tollens, and out. This dot here is in parentheses. Can we do an and in? Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. Double negation? Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. Is our goal an arrow? Yes, it is. Which means what are we going to do? We're going to provisionally assume the left, and we're going to solve for the right. So we're going to indent. I'm going to say, hey, let's provisionally assume J, and we're going to try and get squiggle L. Now with that in play, can we do an arrow out? No. Can we do a modus tollens? No. Can we do an and out? No. Can we do an and in? Yeah, but it's not going anywhere. Can we do a double negation? Yeah, but it's not going anywhere. Is our goal an arrow right now? Remember, our goal right now is squiggle L. No? So what are we going to do? This is our goal right now. We're going to do an indirect proof. So we're going to indent on another level. So our goal is squiggle L. So what we're going to do is we're going to visually assume the contrary of that. That's L. Provisional assumption. Now here we're doing an indirect proof. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve for any contradiction. Doesn't matter what we get. And once we get that, any contradiction, the whole rest of the thing is going to unravel. So now let's see, can we do an arrow out? Yeah. This is the left side here. That gets us T. And remember, what we want to do, we get arrow out 1 and 4. We want to get any two contraries and stick them together. So what you should scan for are what negations do I already have. I have squiggle J and T. Can I build the opposite of squiggle J and T would be just be J and T. Can I build J and T? Uh-huh. And there are my pieces. So look at this. Line 6. J dot T. And in 3 and 5. And then what I can do is look, I can say that thing and exactly not that thing. So look, I get J and T and squiggle J and T. And in J and T came from 6. Squiggle J and T came from 2. There are my contraries. So I can zoom out here and say, yeah, if you provisionally assume L, you will get squiggle L indirectly 4 through 7. But look here, if we provisionally assume the left, we get the right, which means when we zoom out, we can say, hey, you got J, you can get squiggle L. Arrow in 3 through 8. Number 13, page 77 says this. If Colin Powell is the President of the United States, then he is a citizen of the United States. Assumption number 1. So conclusion, if he is not a citizen, then he cannot be president. So let's see, do we have an arrow not in parentheses? Yeah. Can we do an arrow out? Do we have a left side match? No. Do we have a right side contrary? No. Do we have a dot we can break apart? No. Do we have anything that we can build in with an and in? No. Double negation? Yeah, that doesn't go anywhere. Is our goal an arrow? Yes, it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to provisionally assume the left side and solve for the right. Provisional assumption, squiggle C, and we are after the right side of the arrow, which is squiggle P, the right side of the arrow of our goal. Now, look at this now. Can we do an arrow out? No. Can we do a modus tollens? Yes. Look, we got an arrow, and the contrary of the right side, what does that mean we can get? The contrary of the left side. What would that be? Squiggle P, which is exactly what we wanted to get here. How do we get it? Modus tollens, 1 and 2. But this also means instantaneously our arrow in is done. We provisionally assumed the left side and got the right side, bam, like that. Which means we can zoom out and say, yeah, if you got squiggle C, it will totally lead you to squiggle P, in this case instantaneously. How did we get it? We stuck an arrow in there. It started in line 2, it ended immediately in line 3. Number 14 is an argument for the existence of God that occurs in Anselm's Proslogion from about 1,000 years ago. Here's what it says. God exists in reality. Now, I know that's actually the conclusion because it then says the proof, which means following the proof, these are the premises. So premise number 1, God is a being greater than that which can be conceived. So God is the greatest thing you can think about. We understand the term God. So even if you're an atheist, when you hear someone say God, you get what it means. If we understand this term, so if you understand the term God, then God exists in the understanding. Assumption number 3. If God exists in the understanding, but not in reality, so if he exists in the understanding, but not in reality, so if it's a term that we can understand, but it doesn't really exist, then God is not the greatest conceivable being. That's squiggle G. Assumption number 4. What's the argument then? That God exists in reality. So these 4 assumptions, God exists in reality. Prove that God really exists based on these assumptions. So let's take a look. First of all, arrows not in parentheses. We got 2 sets. Here and here. Do we have any left side matches? Immediately we do, which means we're going to get U. Arrow out, 3 and 2. Can we do another arrow out? No. Can we do a modus tollens? Actually, yes. We have an arrow. The right side of the arrow is squiggle G. We do have a contrary in line 1, which means we can get in line 6 U dot squiggle R. Not that. modus tollens, 4 and 1. Now, is there anything else we can do? Arrow out? No. Modus tollens? No. And out? Again, both of these dots are in parentheses. We can't use them. And in? Nothing that's going to get us to R. Double negation? It's not going anywhere. Is our goal an arrow? No. So what do? We're going to provisionally assume the opposite of our goal. We got R. Let's provisionally assume in line 7. Squiggle R. And the mission, the side quest at this point is then get any set of opposites and stick them together. So now with this squiggle R in place, yeah, we could say, all right, can we do an arrow out? What you want to look for immediately is that what are the squiggles that I already have, and can I go ahead and build the opposite? So look in line 6. We've got squiggle U dot squiggle R. Can I build the contrary of this? Like, could I build U dot squiggle R? And yeah, I can. Look at line 5 and line 7. There's U and squiggle R separately. So watch this. I built them together. U dot squiggle R and in 5 and 7. And then look, now line 8 and line 6 are contraries, which means I have a contradiction. It's bigger than some of the other ones that we've dealt with, but look, I've got U squiggle R and the exact same thing, U dot squiggle R with a squiggle in front of that. Those are opposites. Those are contraries. So I can say and in line 8 and line 6. So that means if you say God doesn't exist in reality, you get a contradiction. That's exactly what Anselm says in the argument. If you say God doesn't really exist, you end up getting a contradiction. Because you end up basically saying that God's the greatest thing that exists. But if he doesn't really exist, then he can't be the greatest thing that exists. That doesn't make any sense. What does that mean then? Line 10. Then God really exists. How? Indirect proof. 7 through 9. And this is an argument that you can actually look at in the Proslogian chapters, I want to say chapters 2 through 5 of the Proslogian. And that's actually the exact argument. That God can't not exist, because if he doesn't, then the concept God doesn't make any sense. The argument actually is a very clear indirect proof. So there you go. But then let's take a look at number 15, which is another argument about the existence of God. That doesn't say God doesn't exist, but that the notion of God is inconsistent. Number 15. Challenge to theism. I'm going to kind of translate it for us, because the translation here is not entirely clear. So line 1. If God is all loving, then he must wish to abolish evil. And if he is all powerful, then he must be able to abolish evil. Premise number 1. If he is willing and able, then evil would not exist. But evil does exist. So it must be the case then. That's the argument. Let's see if it's valid based on these assumptions. First of all, arrow not in parentheses. Can we do anything with this? Do we have a left side match? No. Do we have a right side contrary? Yep, we do, between lines 2 and 3. Look at that. Don't miss those. So that gets us, if we got an arrow, we get the contrary to the right side, we get the contrary to the left. The left here is W dot A. So remember, when you're writing contraries, just write the exact same thing with a squiggle in front of it. Modus tollens, 2 and 3. That's going to come in handy in a little bit. Go back to the top of the list. Can I do an arrow out now? No. Modus tollens now? No. And out? Yeah, that's been there. But that was the third item on our list. So let's do that. We get line 5, line 6. That's going to be freed from parentheses, L arrow W and P arrow A. And out on line 1 for both. Now, do we have arrows not in parentheses? Yeah, we got 2. Here and here. Left side matches. Do we have any L's anywhere? No. P's anywhere? No. Squiggle W's for modus tollens? No. Squiggle A for modus tollens? No. Any more end outs that we can do? No. Any end ins that we should do? No. Any double negations that we should do? No. Is our goal an arrow? No. Our goal then is P dot L with a not in front of it, so we're going to provisionally assume the opposite of this. The contrary of this. What's the contrary of not P dot L? Just plain P dot L. So we're going to provisionally assume this, and here's what we're going to say. We're going to say, all right, since we're provisionally assuming this, get any two sets of opposites and stick them together. So now with this in play, P dot L, can we do an arrow out? No. But look, this is a fresh new dot that we can break apart. 8, 9, we get P and L separately. Okay, and out on line 7. And out on line 7. Can we do an arrow out now? Yeah, we get A. Arrow out 6 and 8. And look, we also get W. Arrow out 5 and 9. Well, remember, when we're doing an indirect proof, one of the things we want to look for is, do I have any opposites? So look for already the squiggles that you've got. I've got squiggle w dot a. Do I have the pieces to build the opposite of that? I literally just got them. So look, I can get number 12, w dot a, and in 11 and 10. But now look, 12 and 4 are contraries. So I can say here, line 13. I'm going to move it over here. If I had more space, I would keep going in this line. So I can write large enough that you can read it. I'm going to do it over here. But think of it as under here. Line 13. Look, w dot a and not w dot a. What is that? And in 12 and 4. So what happened there? Look, I provisionally assumed starting here in 7, and it led all the way to line 13. So I can zoom out now and say on line 14, hey, if you start with P and L, it leads to ridiculousness. You get a world where W and A is true, God is willing and able, and not willing and able. Well, that's stupid talk. So what does that mean? Well, that means that then, can God be all-powerful and all-loving? He can't be both those things. Maybe he's one or the other, but he's not both. How? Indirect proof. Where did we start doing that work? Line 7. Where did it stop? Line 13.
Okay, so that was problems 11 through 15 on negations. What I'm going to do in the next video is I'm going to give you a few sample problems from your next quiz, quiz 4. See you next time.